Hi there guys, this is Barry from Coffee vs Glass, and today I'm going to be taking a look at what I've just recently reviewed on the blog, and that is the Nexus 7. Now, I've also going to show you some comparisons between the Galaxy Nexus phone and what they are sort of like together. So I'm going to put this aside for one moment, and we're going to bring in the Nexus 7. So let's just put the screen to sleep here. So I'll start off by having a quick look at the hardware. As I mentioned on my review, the hardware is pretty slick. As you can see on the front here, there's a no button design on the front. Of course, all stock Android devices have on-screen buttons, so we'll have a look at those in a second. Up the top here, we've got a webcam at the top here. That little pattern around it is just the screen protector that I've got on the front here. And of course, we've got ambient light sensors up the top as well. So looking around the device, on the left hand side we've got no buttons. We have got some what appear to be charging pins for a dock of some sort and a microphone. On the top we've got nothing, just another microphone port on the top there for portrait. Right hand side we've got a lock on off button, volume rocker on the side, and then moving down to the bottom we've got a headphone jack and a micro USB port. On the back we've just got a nicely engraved Nexus logo on the back with the brand Asus, and then a speaker grill at the bottom. The speaker actually does produce quite good sound as it's quite loud and clear, and when placed flat on the table it doesn't cover itself up, which is always a nice touch. Now this back, as many have reported, is really nice. It's a very odd material to convey on video, but it's kind of like a rubbery finish. Almost, as I put like a leather studded glove, and it's got a nice kind of like indented pattern on it. It's very nice and super grippy. So let's just go ahead and press the lock button on the side here, and we can see the tablet comes to life. And let's just go ahead and unlock the device. So here you can see we've got the stock Android layout, just with the touchscreen buttons on the bottom for back, home and multitasking. We've got the app drawer in the middle here, which is just going to show you all of your applications. And of course, if you keep on scrolling, it's going to show you things like your widgets and sort of nice on-screen things you can put on there. So looking at the device, it's very easy to navigate around. Of course, if you're used to stock Android, you're very accustomed to it. You've got a notification pull down at the top here. Now I have added the power toggles application, which I previously reviewed, which will add the shortcuts back here that some customized devices have, like TouchWiz and Sense UI. And we've got a shortcut to rotate, lock, and the settings menu. We've of course got the persistent search bar at the top here, which is now including Google Now on the stock Android devices. And if we look into the applications, we've got stock applications like Google Currents, Calendars, Alarm, Gmail, Gallery, and all the good stock appness like that. So in terms of using the device, the first thing you'll notice is that if you turn it into landscape mode, thusly like this, the screen does not rotate. Now the update that's coming up very shortly, which I haven't got yet, 4.1.2, will allow the screen to turn round even if you're just on the home screen. At the moment, even if you go into the app drawer, it still doesn't rotate round. So Google is aiming this very much at the portrait user. Now of course this is emphasized even more by the fact that you read books and comics and view web pages and things like that, and they fit very nicely in portrait view. And as you can see, it clearly fits into my hand here, which is very nice compared to the Nexus, which previously people have been like, oh, it's a huge phone, how can you hold it? Well, this is even nicer. So if we look at these two devices side by side, you kind of get an idea for the size of the screen. So this is a 4.65 inch screen versus a 7 inch screen. I've got the same wallpaper on the two here. It's a nice illustrated Skyrim map, and you can see the difference in screens. Now I don't know if you can see this on the video, but holding these side by side, the Galaxy Nexus has a much more saturated, darker, contrasty screen than the the Nexus 7. Sorry, it doesn't really look like it's going to come out on the video, but you just have to take my word for it. Now in terms of battery life, it does last a good while if you're just surfing the web and things like that, and you're just surfing on Wi-Fi or watching some video. But as soon as you start to pump out games and high graphically intensive things on this tablet, you're going to see it go down quite fast. I was playing a game last night and it went down sort of 1% every minute, and it died very quickly. Charging times are okay. If you're charging it from a laptop, it will take an extremely long time, but from a wall charger, it will charge fairly quickly. Now, in terms of the processor, it is running a quad-core Tegra 3 processor. It's got a gigabyte of RAM. This model has 16 gigabytes of internal storage, and it's got a HD display. So it's really good for viewing pretty much anything. I did mention in my review that it looks a bit desaturated and sort of a bit washed out, but I think that's just on the general navigation screens on here, for example, and on the home screen. As soon as you actually start viewing photos and videos and playing games, the balance of colour and contrast actually work out very, very well compared to something like the Galaxy Nexus, which is, in comparison, like I just said, quite darker and oversaturated. Now, I have got a screen protector on here at the moment, of course, like I said, because I don't want to scratch the screen on this, and I think everybody should do the same. And I am in fact going to get a case for it as well, so I'll be reviewing a case for it as well. So I think in all, as I said in my review, I like the tablet. It's a good tablet, and I have found some uses for it since my written review, because I was kind of 50-50 on whether I actually wanted to keep it or not, because like I said, I've got my 15-inch MacBook Pro and my 4.65-inch phone, and I was kind of, you know, well, I can do most of the things I want to do on either. Why would I need an intermediary device? And I have kind of found some uses, you know, sitting on the couch, watching some TV, playing games, surfing the internet, reading. I have installed the Comixology app, which is great for viewing comics. I'll just go into one here. So the pages really do, let's go back here a second. So the pages do really shine, and it's actually very, very clear and crisp. It's not quite big enough for full screen viewing like the iPad. So for example, when I'm watching or reading, comics on this, I do find that it's actually better to do the whole transition thing here, because then you get zoomed into text and things like that, which can be hard to read if the tablet is just in this mode here. But I think in all, it's a very, very good experience. So you can see the colours on here pop a lot more than they do on something like the home screen. So I think I am probably going to be keeping this tablet. I will find some use for it, and hey, you never know, if they do bring out a different version with 3G, like I said, which is a big downside, I might get that, and you know, maybe a better screen and you know, some better battery life. Then yeah, I might upgrade, or I might just keep this one, who knows. But I think all in all, the Nexus 7 is an absolutely amazing tablet. It is the first tablet I've used, so maybe a little bit biased, but then again, I have had lots of contacts through my job with things like iPads, so I can tell the difference. So I think Nexus 7, definitely for the price, definitely very worth it. And if you're an Android fan, and if you love stock Android and you've got a Galaxy Nexus, then the Nexus 7 is definitely something you want to pick up. So this is Barry from Copper vs Glass, and I'll catch you guys later.